Hey there, deep divers. You ready to dive into some cool AI stuff today?
Always up for that.
So we're going to tackle this question that seems super basic, but it's actually got everyone kind of stumped. Can AI actually think like we do?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. Because it's not just about algorithms and spitting out data. It's like, can they understand things, solve problems in a way that's not just pre-programmed?
And that's what makes this research from Apple so fascinating. It really throws a wrench in some of the big AI claims we're seeing these days.
Okay, so no more teasing. Let's get into it. What exactly did Apple do that has everyone buzzing?
Well, they decided to put these AI models to the test.
Hmm.
And we're not talking about just any AI models. These are the top dogs like GPT-4 and Gemma 2, over 20 of them.
Wow, okay, so the best of the best. But how do you really test if something can think?
Right. That's the tricky part. So they use math.
Math. Really? Doesn't sound very high-tech for testing AI.
It's more clever than you think. See, they started with this thing called GSM-8K. It's basically a bunch of grade school math word problems.
Okay, so what's 2 plus 2 kind of stuff?
Pretty much. But here's the thing. A lot of these AI models, they've already been trained on this data set. They've seen these problems before.
Ah, so they could be cheating. Just spitting out memorized answers.
Exactly. That's not real thinking, right? So Apple, they created variations.
So they mixed it up, made it harder. I like it.
They called one GSM symbolic. Same word problems, but they swapped the names and numbers around.
Tricky. So the AI couldn't just rely on remembering the answers from before.
Exactly. But they took it even further.
Oh. They weren't done messing with these AIs.
Nope. They had this other test, GSM no-op, and this one is sneaky. They kept those modified math problems, but they added extra information. Stuff that seemed like it might be important, but it was totally useless for solving the problem.
So kind of like a distraction, trying to throw the AI off track. Give us an example. I gotta know what this looks like.
Okay, picture this. The problem is, Oliver picks 44 kiwis on Friday. Then he picks 58 kiwis on Saturday. On Sunday, he picks double the number of kiwis he did on Friday, but 5 of them were a bit smaller than average. How many kiwis does Oliver have?
Wait, so that whole thing about the smaller kiwis, that doesn't matter at all. It's just there to confuse things.
Exactly. And that's what they wanted to see. Could the AI figure out what information was actually important for solving the problem? That's a big part of real reasoning, right?
That's actually really clever. It's like they were testing if the AI could understand the point of the problem, not just blindly calculate.
Right. And the results? Well, that's where things get interesting.
I bet. So how did those super smart AIs do? Did they pass the Kiwi test?
Not so much. Across the board, their performance tanked. Adding in those irrelevant details caused their accuracy to plummet, like in some cases by as much as 65%.
65%. That is a huge GE drop. So what does that tell us? If they're supposed to be so smart, why'd they fail so hard?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? It's like, are these AI models really thinking, or are they just really good at following patterns they've seen before?
Right. Like they aced the test when they'd already seen the answers, but once you change things up, throw in a curveball.
They totally struck out. And that's the crucial point. It's not that AI is dumb. Not necessarily, anyway.
So we're not saying the total failures.
Right. It's more that how they process information, it's fundamentally different from how our human brains work. We can reason, we can apply logic, we see the context, AI. At least for now, it seems like it's mostly about pattern recognition.
Okay, so that's a little reality check.
Yeah.
But if AI isn't as smart as some people claim, what does that actually mean for us? Like, what are the real-world implications of this?
Well, think about it. We're already using AI in some pretty high-stakes situations, right?
Yeah, like self-driving cars. That's a big one.
Exactly. And medical diagnoses, even in creative fields, AI is writing articles, composing music.
It's everywhere. And up until now, the assumption has been, well, AI can handle it. It's smart enough.
But if it's not truly reasoning, that's a little bit unnerving, isn't it?
It is kind of unsettling when you put it like that.
I mean, imagine an AI doctor that misdiagnoses someone because it's fixated on patterns in the data, but it's missing the nuances of that specific patient.
Or the self-driving car.
Yeah.
It's navigating a busy intersection, but instead of reacting to what's actually happening, it's just relying on scenarios it's memorized before.
And then something unpredictable happens. A kid runs out into the street, a ball bounces in front of a car.
And the AI, it doesn't know how to react because it's never seen that exact situation before.
That's exactly the point. It's like relying on an old, outdated map to navigate a city. You might get around for a bit, but you're going to get lost eventually.
Because you need to understand the underlying structure, the way things connect, not just follow the lines on a page.
And that's the difference between true intelligence and what we have now with AI. It's not about demonizing AI, it's about being realistic. We can't expect it to be something it's not.
So then, where do we go from here? Is there a way to bridge this gap? Can we actually teach AI to think more like humans?
That's the billion-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And researchers are working on it. Some experts are saying, hey, maybe more data isn't the answer. Maybe it's about teaching AI to understand concepts, not just patterns.
Yeah, like context, understanding the why behind things,
Yeah.
not just the what.
Exactly. I've been hearing more and more about this thing called explainable AI.
Explainable AI. What's that?
So it's basically, imagine you could ask an AI why it made a certain decision, and it could actually explain its reasoning to you in a way that makes sense.
Oh, wow. So instead of it being this black box, we can actually peek inside and see how it's thinking.
Exactly. Which could be huge for identifying biases, making sure it's not making dangerous mistakes. We could actually understand the thought process.
That would be a game changer for sure. Building trust in AI, knowing that it's not just spitting out random answers, but that there's a logic behind it.
Right. And then there's this other area, causal reasoning, which focuses on teaching AI to understand cause and effect.
Okay, so like, if this happens, then this will happen, kind of thinking.
Exactly. It goes beyond just recognizing patterns. It's about understanding why those patterns exist in the first place.
That feels a lot closer to how we think as humans, right? We don't just see things happening. We understand the cause and effect, the chain of events.
Precisely. And these are just two of the avenues that researchers are exploring. It's a rapidly evolving field, and while we haven't quite cracked the code yet,
Apple research, it feels like a turning point.
it definitely is. I think it's a wake-up call. We've
Yeah.
got to temper our excitement with a dose of realism. We should be excited about the potential of AI, absolutely, but
But we can't just blindly trust it. We can't assume that it's more capable than it actually is.
because there are real consequences to that kind of thinking. We have to be thoughtful, we have to ask the difficult questions, and we have to be prepared for the answers, even if they're not what we want to hear.
It's about respecting the power of what we're creating here, not just assuming that we've got it all figured out.
Exactly. Because true intelligence, it's not about taking shortcuts. It's not about quick fixes or easy answers.
It really makes you think, after that deep dive into Apple's work, are we really on the path to real AI? Or are we kind of chasing a fantasy?
It's the question, right? The big one. And honestly, I don't think there's an easy answer right now what this Apple research does. It shows us just how complex intelligence really, I guess.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hype. But when you really break it down, it's more than just processing power, right?
Way more. It's about understanding, adapting, actually reasoning. And our AI, as amazing as it can be, it just hasn't grasped that yet.
It's almost like we're trying to build something that we ourselves don't even fully get, like the human brain. Still a huge mystery.
Totally. Maybe the key to AI, true AI, is figuring out our own intelligence first.
Mind-blowing, right? This isn't just about building smarter machines. It's about us.
Right.
What makes us intelligent? What are the limits? And then there's the ethics of it all.
Yeah, huge ethical questions.
Yeah.
If we create something that can think for itself, what does that even mean for humanity?
It feels like we're on the edge of something huge. Exciting, yeah, but also a little, I don't know, unnerving.
Absolutely. And Apple's research, it reminds us it's not just about getting to that AI finish line. It's how we get there that matters.
Right, like being careful, thoughtful about each step.
Exactly. We got to be more thoughtful, ask the hard questions, even if they make us uncomfortable, and approach all this with optimism, yeah, but also grounded realism.
Not getting ahead of ourselves, remembering that real intelligence, true intelligence, it's not about easy solutions or shortcuts.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, deep divers, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about today. That's a wrap on this deep dive. But hey, stay curious, keep asking those tough questions, and remember, we're all in this big, complex world of knowledge together. Until next time.